What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, back here for another Good Morning Tottenham as we delve even deeper into what happened last night. Spurs exiting the FA Cup in the last 16 against Middlesbrough at the Riverside. The way we're going to structure today is we're going to go through the press conference from Antonio Conte last night. We're going to give our match review. We're going to go and see how Twitter reacted to the game last night, and then it's your chance to have your say. The link is in the community section. But without further ado, let's get into Antonio Conte's press conference.
Okay, ready. Okay, ready. I feel that we lost a good chance to go to the next round and to play the quarterfinal in an important competition like FA Cup. And I feel this. There is for sure disappointment for the final result. I think this type of game, and especially when you play away and then you are playing against a team that play in Premiership, you have to know the difficulty, and for this reason you have to try to kill in a sporty way your opponent quickly. I think we have had the chances to score, but we didn't take it, and then when you give confidence to your opponent, and then you risk. And at the end, Middlesbrough won the game, and they deserved to go to the next round. And a great compliment to them, and the manager, to the players, because I think they played very well. And at the end, yeah, I can tell this. Yeah.
Do you feel that Middlesbrough outfought you tonight? Do you think they fought harder, particularly in extra time?
No, but I think that we should kill the game before, and I repeat. And when you play this type of game, and I used from the start, you have to kill the game. You have to kill your opponent. The opponent has to feel that tonight it will be a bad night. Instead, I think that we kept Middlesbrough in life, and then passed time, and for sure they've taken confidence, and then they created chances to score also. And but we had to take good learn about this defeat, and to continue to work, because there is only one way to continue to work, and to try to avoid this up and down. I always say that we have to become stronger, and if we want to become competitive, we have to be a stable team. And too many up and down still for us, and for sure, I repeat, and we have to continue to work very hard, and to try in the future to learn about this defeat.
How disappointing is it that you sat here on the 1st of March, and that is now no opportunities to win a trophy for Tottenham this season? Essentially, any chance of winning a trophy is now gone.
But we have to continue to work, and to know that there is a rest of the season. There are 3 months and a half to work very hard, and to try to get the best result, and for the team, and to see at the end of the season which is our position in the table. There is only this way, and for sure we have to continue to work, and to try to to improve in many aspects, because we can improve.
But for someone like yourself who loves to win trophies and get to finals, as you have done in the FA Cup before, how disappointing is it that you won't do that here this season as far as?
No, but in this moment I'm the last I'm the last person that I don't think to myself. I think that when I speak with my players and with in my team, I speak and I tell that we have to think about with us, not with me. And for me, no problem. And for me, there is the desire, the will, the passion to try to continue to work very hard, to try to improve, and to make this team more stable than the past. Because I think this is the key that can change the situation. Yeah.
Charlie?
You mentioned there about being so up and down. You've obviously gone from beating City away to tonight. How do you instill that type of stability in the team?
But I can I try every day and through the work and also sometimes to speak and for sure in this type of situation you have to try the right key to go into the mind of the players, because it's not only sometimes it's not only a tactical problem or technical problem sometimes, and you have to try to work and to push in other aspect, about the mental aspect, and to try to stay focused and to work also in the training session to continue to keep focusing. I know that it's very difficult, because to be focused in every moment of the training of the game is not easy, but if we want to be competitive in the future, I think this is aspect that we have to improve a lot.
Do you think you're closer to understanding this team 4 months on from taking over?
Sorry, I didn't understand.
Well, I remember after the Mura game, it was a similar situation.
Yeah.
Do you feel now you're closer to understanding how to make this team tick?
No, I think from the time, and I think we improved a lot of situations. But for sure, and we have to continue to work because this type of the defeat show us that we have to continue to improve, and that it's not enough what we are doing, and I repeat, I know only one way, and to continue to work, to be perseverant, to use the perseverance, you understand, and it will be very important to grow this group.
Nights like this, the nights when you need your big important players to stand up and show that stability that you need from everyone else.
Yeah, but the truth that today we are talking about a defeat, and in the last game we won. 2 games ago we lost. 3 games ago we won, and I think that I can't hide the reality. No, the reality that we are having too many up and down, and we have to try to work. And yeah, I think that this is a problem that maybe and it was also on the past. And in my opinion, there is only one way to try to improve, and to continue to work many aspects, and to be perseverant, and to be patient, because you need to have patience in this in this process, and to hope that in the future the situation will be much better early, and not to wait for a long time.
Finish with Craig.
Before Antonio, after the Burnley game, you were very upset with yourself and questioned your own ability. Do you question yourself after a night like tonight?
But sometimes, and it's important for the coach, and when you have the media conference, sometimes behind our press conference also has to be a strategy, and sometimes you have to be strong, sometimes you have to be light, and my old coaches in Italy, and especially Fascetti and Mazzone, they learned me, they teach me that, and the coach sometimes has to use the carrots, sometimes has to use the sticks, but I'm with I have to try in every moment the right way, no, the right way, and yeah, after Barley, and maybe with the stick, and then we won. after Leeds with the carrots, we lost. Yeah. And yeah, but I repeat, and the coach has to try to find always the best solution, and not because you are upset or you are frustrated, you are disappointing. I repeat, and in every moment the situation has to be very clear, and I know that there is a lot of space for improvement for this team, and we have to try to be more stable, because tonight we showed that we have a lot of space for improvement under this aspect. Okay. But I'm the coach of this team, and when you have a coach of the team, and your players are the best in the world, and for me it's the same. It's the same, and then for sure, and also I can consider my players the best in the world, but I know that we can improve, and we'll work to improve for the future, and to try to reflect also under this defeat, because for sure this defeat has to hurt us, and me, my players, everybody that work in Tottenham.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So that was every word Antonio had to say on the game last night. A lot more calmer than what he was after the Burnley game, that's for sure. Do you think he gave them the stick or the carrot last night?
I'm sure he gave them the stick after what happened. I mean, we are struggling badly for consistency. That's clear for everyone to see. He's admitted yesterday, this team just suffers way too many ups and downs in their form.
Yeah.
And that's something that we're going to have to fix if we're going to move forward. And it's not something we can fix until we're able to sufficiently rotate the team without dropping in quality. And yesterday, off the back of a 4-0 win at Leeds, we came away to Middlesbrough thinking, again, we're in a good way. And with every result, it's game to game at the moment with Tottenham in terms of where we're at in the season. And right now, after that loss, everything's bad again, and everything's disaster. And Kane's considering his future, and all that, and Conte's going to leave, and all that drums up. And then if we beat Everton and we put ourselves back in the top 4 race, then things will be looking good again. It's really exhausting.
It really
Watching
is.
Tottenham, it must be exhausting managing this team as well. I wouldn't be
Yeah,
surprised.
100%. We've got a super chat here from Bob Spur TV. Big up, Bob.
Go on, Bob.
If you didn't see his return, his epic return to the channel last night, go check out the fan show.
Amazing.
I think Sim put up the clip of the day on Twitter as well, so go check that out. But his super chat says, I asked last night, how do you put the heart and will to care into someone? That's got to come from the players themselves. The not caring was scandalously glaring. Great to speak with you last night. It's great to speak with you as well, Bob. But what do you make out of that comment? How do you put the will to care into someone? Can you put the will to care into someone? Or does it have to come from themselves? And do you think that was an issue last night?
I don't think that was an issue. I think it was just a lack of quality. I honestly think that. I think Borough were definitely more up for it, but that's for sure. But I don't think it was a lack of will. I think when it comes to that, I think players can play wanting to win, but sometimes you need that extra bit of motivation to push those extra limits. Maybe that was found wanting yesterday. But I also think we have a serious problem with playing 2 games in a week. I think that's clear at the moment. Every time we have a full week, we seem to be okay, and when we have had a full week, we've had some of our toughest games. Liverpool and Man City at the end of those weeks, and we still played really well. And yet, when we have a midweek game, and we play 2 games in a week, we seem to really struggle. I can't remember, when was the last time we did win a midweek game? I'm trying to remember now. Have we ever won a midweek game under Conte?
Vitesse?
Vitesse in his first game, we nearly gave that one away as well. I'm trying to think. Guys in the chat, let me know. Have we won? How many midweek games have we actually won under Conte? But we are really badly struggling for consistency. I think when it comes to motivation, it is definitely up to the manager to make sure that they're fully motivated. But it's a balancing act, because the players shouldn't have to be motivated from the manager. That's for sure. But sometimes the manager needs to provide that extra bit to get the most out of them. And he wasn't able to do that yesterday. Or maybe we're just outdone by Wilder. I think tactically they got it spot on, how they performed against us. Outnumbering us in midfield with their 3-5-2. We struggled to get near them. Winks again. How many times, it was a repeat of Wolves. How many times was we were just left all over the place, not able to get near any of their... Johnny Howson was allowed to run the game yesterday.
Yeah, he shat all over our midfield yesterday. But look, let's come into the review now of the game last night. Obviously, we lost 1-0 at the Riverside, crashed out the FA Cup in the last 16 in a disaster performance. You've got to say that. And, you talk about just now that you don't think maybe it was what Bob was kind of talking about in the, will to care in these players. But it's inexcusable to let a team want it more than us. We should be going on that pitch, especially with Antonio Conte as manager, wanting to win and, showing that on the pitch every single game, week in, week out. And yeah, you're saying that during midweek games, we don't have enough time. Well, it's not that we don't have enough time to prepare, but during the week when we do have enough time to prepare, we're performing well in the games. But it's in these games against the Middlesbroughs, against the Burnleys, against the Wolveses and all that kind of stuff, when we're expected to have the domination and the possession of the ball, we just can't perform against these teams. And I don't know what the situation is. I don't know what the way around this is. But when we're asked to control the possession, to take the game to the other team, we are falling flat every single time. And what do we put that down to? Is that just clearly just a lack of quality and that's it?
I think, first of all, yeah, massively. I think for sure that's a lot to do with the lack of quality, especially because in those situations you have 2 ways. First of all, I don't think yesterday was actually a situation where we couldn't break down a low block. Borough weren't even low blocking yesterday. They were pressing us and pushing out, and
what I'm
a
saying
lot
is,
of the time.
I know,
but what I'm saying is, for sure, tactics is one thing. I think we were way too pragmatic. You saw as soon as we switched it to a back 4 yesterday, although we threw more caution to the wind and we might have opened up a bit, we were all of a sudden within 5 minutes we created more chances than we had all game. in the last 10 minutes yesterday. As soon as Bergwijn came on, went to a back four, all of a sudden we're way more creative. I don't know why he waited until 10 minutes to go to do that. He should have done it way earlier. I would have done it probably at half time, but if not at half time, probably on the hour mark, you do that. And then you have a lot more time to try and kill the game when you see it's not working, because it clearly wasn't working for an hour. We barely created a thing for an hour. We created more in those 10 minutes, probably the last 10 minutes of the game, than we did in the rest of the 80 minutes. Yeah. So for sure, tactically, Conte's got to take some responsibility for that, because I think he reacted way too late. But I think when it comes to his structure, yeah, there's a lack of quality. I think the wing backs, I think they did well against Leeds, but I don't think they did well yesterday. I know Doherty and Sesson probably had our best moments, but there's still not enough quality when they're in space to really hurt the opposition. And in central areas, Højbjerg and Winks, and as much as they're okay when they're not have pressure on them and stuff, when they're being closed down, when they're being asked to do things which more creative players are capable of, like getting into the final third, playing good progressive passes in between the lines that can hurt the opposition, they weren't up to it yesterday. When they asked to carry the ball, weren't up to it yesterday. It was defensively, I think Højbjerg was pretty good, but when it was on the ball,
he lost the ball time.
I think he was found lacking, and I think Winks as well. Winks was also found lacking yesterday. He was found lacking on both on and off the ball. We don't have a player like we're pretty much asking Harry Kane to be our number 9 and number 10, and that's too, like, as much as he can do both roles, he also needs help.
And number 8.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Like, the thing is with Kane, if he is going to be, when he does go into the number 10, you need someone to go and be the number 9 then, which is why probably we need a second striker. If he is going to be the number 9, you need someone to fill that number 10 role. And he can't do both at the same time. He can only do one at a time. And it's fine that he can do both. But when he is doing one, someone else has to step in and do the other role. And at the moment, we don't have that. At the moment, as much as I think Son, as much as I love him, I thought he was absolutely diabolical yesterday.
I actually think Son was our worst player on the pitch.
He was horrendous, I have to say. He was absolutely horrendous. I don't know whether he was looking leggy, he was tired, but he was all over the shop. He couldn't control a ball. He'd waited way too long whenever he did have the ball. He was running into blind alleys time and time again. He was looking for dribbles
as well, man.
It was just really bad from Sonny. And I've always questioned whether this number 10 position is his best position, because in the central areas deeper, is that where you want Son? You either want him wide or you want him stretching the last man. That's what you want. You don't really want him deep in central areas where it's very congested. He's never really thrived in those scenarios, and he did on Saturday, but he had a lot of space on Saturday. He didn't have the space he did yesterday.
But even, you say, fine, he did have a lot more space than usual in that kind of position against Leeds, but he was still picking up the ball from deep and driving at defenders, even in the tight spaces against Leeds, because he had quite a few men round him and he was beating men for fun against Leeds. And yesterday when he was getting on the ball, like you say, just taking too much time to make his decisions, his horrible touches as well, and just nothing at all was coming off of him yesterday.
We don't have like a maestro or creator in tight areas like like Eriksen or Bernardo Silva, James Maddison, like someone who can operate in these, like even like Thiago Alcantara that Liverpool have, someone like that who has that bit of quality in tight spaces when teams are pressing them. Like the 4 centre mids we have, I honestly, people saying, we need Bentancur back, we need Skip back. I'm sure, I don't doubt they're better players than Winks, but what I'm saying is you put them in the team yesterday, it doesn't change the way we play, I don't think. I think it's going to be very similar. I think it's going to be very similar.
If you put Bentancur in for Winks yesterday, I think it does make a slight difference in terms of maybe his energy and mobility around the pitch, and also his ability to get the ball and play a really good pass forward. Yeah, I know Winks can do that as well, but Bentancur has shown it already in a shorter amount of time what quality he can bring, and he's won the ball in the opposition area of the pitch more than any other midfielders put together. So I think maybe it would have made a slight difference, maybe having Bentancur instead of Winks yesterday.
Yeah, but I'm saying the type of midfielder he is, I still don't think it, like, it might have made a slight difference. We probably might have created a few more chances, but I don't think like having that profile. We need someone who's like a proper playmaker. We don't have that. We don't have a proper player who's really comfortable on the ball in all types of situations. All those midfielders, apart from arguably Skip, are not that comfortable when they're on the ball and they've got players hounding them and pressing them. Skip is the only one who has a bit of calmness, it seems, and he's even him though he's calm and he doesn't kind of panic, but he still usually plays it backwards or sideways when in those situations. He doesn't like Moussa Dembele. Took on all comers. He didn't care who was coming to him. He was like, okay, you're coming that direction. This guy's coming this direction. I know exactly what I'm going to do.
Ultimate press-resistant midfielder,
Like,
wasn't he? The ultimate.
We have midfielders, it seems, that seem worried and scared whenever they're being pressed, and and more often than not they get caught on the ball in very dangerous areas. And we have serious problems when teams are very structured to build up the play through the central areas. So if we can't build up the play through the central areas, it means we have to go out wide. And when we go out wide, we find Doherty and we find Sessegnon in space, but more often than not, the quality isn't there from them. Unfortunately, to really hurt the opposition as much as they did well on Saturday, they're on consistently. I don't think any team is worried about Sessegnon and Doherty having space. You know what I mean? I don't think that's the top of their list of concerns. So that's the problem. I think that's a serious problem. We never addressed that issue. We haven't addressed it since Eriksen left. We let go of Ndombele and Lo Celso, who were our best technicians in January. We didn't replace them with anyone of that quality at all or of that profile. And now we're having these performances like Burnley away, like Borough, where we're really struggling to get good quality service into the front line in and around the final third, and also we're really struggling to progress the ball on a consistent basis, and that's a big issue, and I can't see it being solved against these kind of sides, especially when we're playing 2 games a week and the energy levels aren't that high. That also factors into it.
Now we're out of the cup, though. Moving forward in terms of what you're saying about 2 games a week, it is more or less going to be 1 game a week now from the end of the season.
Yeah, because I was thinking about this. When I was thinking about Conte's previous jobs and where he's at his best. He won the league at Chelsea when they had no European football. They were playing pretty much 1 game a week for the whole season. At Inter Milan, when he won the league, they got knocked out the group stages of the Champions League, and then they went on a brilliant run second half of the season and went on winning the league.
Europa League?
No, they were in the Champions League.
Yeah, but did they not drop down to the Europa League that season?
Don't think, did they? I'm pretty sure they
didn't. They get to the final.
That was season before.
So what did they do in that season? I'm pretty sure they went far, lost in the quarters or something, in the semis or something like that.
I think they went out in the groups. I think they finished 4th.
Did they?
Yeah, I think they finished 4th in the Champions League group stages in their second season. Pretty sure they did. And in their second season. And then they pretty much playing 1 game a week for the second half of the season. And they went on a brilliant one and went on winning the league. I think we all know that Conte has struggled in Europe, right?
Yeah.
Whenever he's never really got far. I know he got to the Europa League final with Inter Milan in his first season. Fair enough. And I think they finished in the top 4 as well in Italy. So that proves that maybe that in that situation they were decent. They were decent in the 1 game a week. But I think he has history with his teams not being at their best when they're playing 2 games a week. I think there's history there.
It's interesting. I'm trying to just bring up to see where they did get, but I think you're right. Champions League, yeah, I think they finished bottom of their group.
They finished bottom of the group,
They
yeah.
only won 1 game against Mönchengladbach.
They had a tough group. I think it was Madrid, Gladbach, and
Yeah.
and who was it?
It was Madrid, Gladbach, and
It was a really tough group. I remember.
Shakhtar.
Was it Shakhtar as well?
Yeah.
Oh well, they should have finished bottom of Shakhtar.
But yeah, they finished bottom of their group. So maybe there is something in that.
I know. The season before that, they finished top 4 and got to Europa League final. So
Yeah.
clearly he's shown he can do it. But I think when he's at his best, when he's winning leagues and stuff, he's usually at 1 game a week, or at the most time 1 game a week. And I think at Tottenham we've seen when it's 2 games a week, we badly struggle. We barely win those 2 games unless we've got opposition like Norwich or Brentford is one of them. Or then again it was Borough and we still couldn't win. So.
But what do you put that down to? I mean,
maybe it's
what
the
do
way
you
he
read
plays.
into that? I mean,
Maybe it's the way he plays.
even that season when they got to Europa League final, they still ran deep in the league that season and could have won the league. They finished 2nd, I think, right?
I think it was top 3 in the end, wasn't it?
Was it? Well, they failed right at the end.
Yeah, I
They
think-
went on a really bad run the last few games of the season, but they
Yeah.
actually had a really good season in the league that year. Prior to that.
Yeah, maybe it's just the way he plays in the 3-4-3, or especially with the 3-4-3. There's a lot of running involved because, especially in the centre, if the centre mid, you have a lot of ground to cover because especially if you're 2 up against a 3, you have to make sure you're covering a lot of ground. The wing backs, as we know, that is a very taxing role. You have to literally be a fullback and a winger in the same game. Your fitness levels have to be crazy. You have to be literally in tip-top shape for the whole 90 minutes. I struggle to think that he doesn't rotate those wing backs more often when we're playing more than one game a week, because that I can understand why they seem burnt out. You know, how often do we see the wing backs have to go off after about an hour or 70 minutes, nearly every game, because they're just absolutely on their knees. So maybe that's something as well. Maybe it's just the way he plays. When you're playing one game a week, it's a lot more manageable, and it goes to 2 games a week. They're starting to struggle to keep up with it. Maybe that's something to do with it.
Yeah,
I'm trying to figure it out, but it does. There does seem to be something there. I think when it comes to Conte and his teams like not being at their best when they're playing 2 games a week.
It's interesting. It really is.
Because Chelsea's second season, once they got Champions League and stuff, when they were in the Champions League, I think they got knocked out by Barca in the round of 16, but they finished 5th that season, I think, didn't they, in his second season? And then they got to the FA Cup final and lost, but they won the FA Cup in the second second half of the season.
Final
Yeah, he
in
lost
the
the
first
final
season
in the
to
first
Arsenal.
season. Yeah, so maybe I don't know. Maybe there is a case for that.
Well, it's an interesting stat. I mean, I guess we'll have to wait and see, like next season and stuff, if we are in Europe, to see if it holds up again. But in terms of Conte,
Well, I think it can work. He just needs sufficient rotation options, so he doesn't have that here.
we need a sufficient squad.
Exactly. We're literally relying. We're running Son and Kane into the ground every single game. Like in these kind of games,
But we've got fullbacks that we can rotate. Regulon hasn't played in ages. Why didn't Regulon play yesterday? Why didn't he even come on earlier than he did? I mean, they waited until extra time to bring on Regulon.
Yeah,
and
I agree.
Second half of extra time
and that's
as well.
and that's why I think he's got to take responsibility as well.
And
I think
third
he
time,
waited. He waited way too long.
We could see how wrong it was going in that first half, and we thought, all right, Antonio Conte is going to lay into them at half time, and it's going to change in the second half. Second half started exactly the way the first half ended, and we just could not break them down. The game was crying out for changes for a long time before he brought in the first sub with 10 minutes to go. Why?
Yeah.
I don't understand why he didn't change things quicker. What was he watching?
Yeah, I don't know. That's the. I don't know what he was watching. He should have changed it a lot quicker. That was.
As much as we want to lay into the players and how the players are not good enough, but these players, as much as we've said it all before, as much as that maybe sometimes they don't look like they care and this and that, they play. They're playing to their max level at the moment because they can find the space on the counter attacks. But when they're asked to get on the ball, it's the same thing every time. And I'm actually starting to think that these players just playing at the max of their level and they're just not good enough.
Yeah, I think
that's that.
I think that's what I think that's evident. I don't think these players are throwing Conte under the bus or anything. I think they're trying their best, and I think they're not good enough to keep up with what he's demanding, and we're seeing it in the results and the lack of consistency.
And how many managers are going to fall before we actually put proper investment into this squad? Because how many managers are you going to try with the same group of players and the same results to start happening over and over again? You know what I mean? It's the same thing, literally.
Yeah.
We need a change in personnel dramatically in this squad if we're going to get anything out of Conte, anything, and any manager, to be honest.
And whether he will get sufficient backing in the summer, with the way things are going, I don't know. I really don't know.
Anyway, that was the match review. Went on a bit of a tangent there, but yeah, let's move on and let's see how Twitter.
I need to connect to the right.
All right, I'll go through some super chats while you're doing that. Siraj is saying, let's not brood over the loss because we simply do not deserve to win. Borough showed us how to play football and they deserve every single bit to go through. Spurs players need to learn from these teams. They need to learn how to pass the ball and actually have possession of the ball. But yeah, no, you're completely right in terms of Borough deserved to go through last night because they were clearly the better side. They were.
They deserved it. They definitely deserved it. But they played really well, and I think tactically they were spot on. They knew how to play against us, and we had no answer to it.
Yeah. And in terms of B, Singh HD is saying it's easy playing against a team who can't defend like Leeds. Against the majority of teams, we create nothing because our piss-poor, turgid midfield. And that's what happens when you've got four midfielders who are predominantly defensive midfielders. We've got no forward-thinking midfielders. Probably our most forward-thinking midfielder is Bentancur, and he's injured right now. So I mean, what do we expect with this football team when we get rid? I know they weren't really contributing much, and yeah, they were probably right to get rid of them. But you have to replace them if they're going out the door in terms of Ndombele and Giovanni Lo Celso.
Yeah, and we had quality, and we didn't replace it. If you're gonna get rid, look, that's why I kept saying, like, as much as Lo Celso and Ndombele weren't trusted by Conte, at least they were an option. If we needed to turn to them in these kind of situations, if they're not in the squad, if they're not going to be an option, you need to make sure there is someone who is going to be an option of a similar kind of ilk. And unfortunately, one sec. Unfortunately, we didn't replace them. So now we don't have a player who can come on and be that creative spark that potentially we need. We just don't have it.
Yeah.
We have Berg. Even if you look at except for maybe Kulusevski, he's maybe a bit creative. Bergwijn, Son, Lucas, and Kane. Kane's creative, but like those three, they're players who rely on their speed. They rely on space. They don't rely on picking locks. That's not their game. We don't have that kind of player in the squad anymore, except for Kane, but he can't pass to himself.
Yeah, I think I was thinking last night during the game maybe we should have. When we moved it into a 4 at the back, I was thinking at that point, maybe we should have moved it to a 3-5-2 with Kulu a bit more central, literally sitting right behind Kane and Son, and that could have made a bit of a difference. But that's the only way I could have seen us changing anything last night, because we needed that quality in the central areas and we just didn't have it.
Definitely.
Anyway, we ready for Twitter?
Yeah. Should be in a sec.
All right, just bear with us, guys. We're just getting it ready for you. Another super chat here from CCV saying, give Levy what he wants and not chant Yid. No thanks. He says, instead, abuse Levy in the stadium, vent out our frustrations. The media will love it and Levy won't. I mean, we can vent our frustration at Levy and chant Yid at the same time. So let's kill two birds with one stone here.
Exactly. All right.
All right, we're going to bring up Twitter now. This is how Twitter reacted to the game last night, obviously crashing out to Middlesbrough in the FA Cup. Take it away.
So we got the extra inch again. They said, we were told when Conte joined that he was not a 2 matches in a week guy, not one for rotation. Even more difficult when you've got only 2 fit midfielders that really showed tonight. Look so legged all over the pitch, so heavy-legged all over the pitch. And then he says, and then they're responding to 2 fit midfielders. I only saw Højbjerg on the pitch today. Where was the other one? And they replied to that. I completely get the frustration with Winks. And yes, he did not play well, but I believe that if you switched Winks with Howson, then Howson would be the one struggling, and Winks would come away with the Player of the Match award because the 3 versus 2 midfield made the difference. Look, we've talked about a lot of Winks in a 2-man midfield and how that he's really struggled when that's happened. I know again against Leeds he was in a 2 and he did okay, but in general, whenever we've seen him in a 2, especially up against a 3, like against Wolves, he doesn't have the he doesn't have the required either fitness levels or ability or to cover as much ground that you need to in a midfield 2. To dominate in those positions and get back on the ball. It was as if when Middlesbrough were on the ball yesterday, as I kept saying on the watch along, we're just letting them play. We're not getting near them at all. We're letting them play, and that's what's giving them confidence. When they're on the ball, they didn't feel like they're in for a game. They just felt like we're gonna spread the ball about. We're gonna get comfortable on the ball. You shouldn't be allowing a team from the league below you to get comfortable with the ball. You should be making it as difficult as possible. We just couldn't get near them.
Once they got wise to how we were playing, about 20 minutes into the game, it was all Middlesbrough. They knew exactly what we were doing. Our midfield was so deep and not being aggressive, nowhere near aggressive enough. And that's when you saw actually a moment in the game where it just flipped for Middlesbrough and they just grew in
It
confidence.
was like near the end of the first half.
Yeah, they just grew in confidence and they thought, all right, this team are here for the taking today. And,
Yeah.
and they knew they were going to win. They literally knew it.
Yeah, it's as if it was like a flip switch. And they were like, actually, we don't need to like rush. We can actually, they're going to allow us to control the ball. We can outnumber them in midfield. And look, Winks' best performances this season have all been in a midfield three. We've seen that. So as much as he is getting slaughtered yesterday, and rightly so, because his performance was really poor, does this formation suit him?
Winks, don't think so. I don't think it does. I mean, I don't know what formation does suit him. Maybe
The
a
three-
3-5-2.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The three in the middle.
We don't have enough personnel to play that.
That's the problem. So then we're forced to play a 3-4-3, which only probably 3 of our midfielders are comfortable with, not 4 of them.
Yeah.
So well, that reduces our options even more.
But that's what we said when at the end of the transfer window, you know, a lot of people were coming on saying, oh, this is a brilliant transfer window, blah, 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 blah. Like, how can it be a brilliant transfer window when one of the systems that we were using quite well, by the way, before January, you know, some of our best performance of the season came in that system. How can it be a good transfer window when that system is now out the window? Mm-hmm. Now out the window with the players that we've got rid of.
Yeah,
and the players that we've brought in.
Can't play it.
It's
Can't
ridiculous.
play it. And yeah, but do you agree with what they're saying, that if you put Winks in the 3-5-2 and Johnny Howson in the in the Tottenham's 2, the roles would have
I
switched.
completely agree with it.
Yeah, I agree with it too. LJ 1882 says facts. We have 2 good midfielders. Facts. We have 2 very good players, and when they play poorly, we don't win. 2, majority of the rest are bottom half of the table / championship level players. 3, we've had so many managers with the same results. They're not the problem. 4, the damage done by Levy's transfers is irreparable. Is it irreparable?
I mean, there's a strong case for it that it is irreparable, because what happens when we don't make Champions League, or maybe not even Europa League at the end of this season? What kind of quality players are going to look to come here? What kind of quality players can we bring in? We've let this squad fester for so long now. 8 of these players in this squad were signed by Pochettino, right? And those 8 players, it's not like they were like high flyers in Pochettino's team. They were like on the brink of his squad that weren't even making the squad. When you look at Ben Davis, Davinson Sanchez, Harry Winks, you know, the rest of them, there are loads of them. The players that were signed by Jose Mourinho in the Matt
Lucas
Doherty's.
Moore, even you can put in that category.
Yeah,
'cause
Lucas Moore was on the brink as well.
Yeah.
So like all the players, the only ones is Kane and Son, right? That one's in the first team. Everyone else was like a second par player under Pochettino. So when you let that
Dyer
squad,
even.
Dyer, yeah, that's correct. Even, you know, a lot of them, and he's like our number 1 guy that's in the defense now. I mean, when you look at the squad and how we've let it fester so badly, the proof is in the pudding.
The thing is with Dyer, he's our number 1. He's pretty much our number 1 centre back, but that goes more to show the decline of the squad rather than how good he's become. That's the reality.
Completely agree.
That's the reality.
And when you're looking at players that you can upgrade, just because Dyer's our number 1 centre back at the moment, it doesn't mean he's not upgradable, because he damn well is upgradable.
100%. And this isn't about shitting on Dyer. I don't think he was bad yesterday.
No, Dyer was probably one of our better players
But
yesterday.
like Dyer being central to our defence is not evidence of his quality. It's evidence of Spurs' recruitment being a shambles. And that's just facts.
And even when you look at other players that are mainstays in this team, like Pierre-Emile Højbjerg,
even
right?
Davis is now a number 1 player.
Exactly.
Now.
But
Ridiculous.
look at even like someone like Pierre-Emile Højbjerg, who a lot of people would maybe say, you know, I know there's a lot of stuff going on with Højbjerg and his performance last night, but when you look at Højbjerg, he is, you know, one of the first names on the team sheet for Antonio Conte. And when you look at the team that we went to the Champions League final with, the team that were challenging for top end of the Premier League, we had Wanyama and Moussa Dembele, right? Højbjerg doesn't get a sniff in that team.
No chance. He's
Not
nowhere
near.
near as prime as Wanyama.
Nowhere near.
And he's obviously nowhere near Dembele, that's for sure. So yeah, I'm definitely right. Noz Ahmed, when I die, I want the Spurs team to lower me to my grave so they can let me down one last time. That's pretty funny. I appreciate that. Darren Lewis says when the Spurs players moved on at the end of the season are shown when the Spurs players moved on at the end of the season are shown the door, they can have few complaints. They've had ample chances, winnable cup ties, successive managers, and flop time and again. Squad needs a massive reboot. Pochettino vindicated yet again. And I think under Poch, it used to be the case where we'll get to semi-finals and stuff, and obviously I know near the end we lost to Colchester, we were losing to Colchester and stuff, but pretty sure in Pochettino's prime, we lost to Chelsea in the League Cup semi-final, we lost to United and Chelsea in the FA Cup semi-finals. We were getting only so far, but only the best were beating us. And now it's like we're getting dumped out by Zagreb, we're getting dumped out by Middlesbrough in the FA Cup.
Well, we did go out to Ghent in Europa League under Poch. And
we did go out to Ghent, yeah, it's true. But most of the time it was we got quite far, I would say. We were losing to very good teams. And now it's like we're losing to rubbish.
Yeah, I
Norwich.
Mean,
Norwich.
There
we
were
lost
times
to
under Poch where we did go out to teams that you think we should be like. In that year, we lost again. We got knocked out in the Champions League group stages in a group where you really thought we should have gone through. So that season, we definitely went out. When we lost to Leicester, who was our manager in the FA Cup? Was that who was that? Mate? Was it Redknapp?
No, that was Poch's first year.
Was that so? Poch exactly.
That was his first year, though. Yeah.
Still, this is Conte's first year.
Yeah, true.
So,
No, I'm not blaming Conte for it. I'm just saying it maybe shows where this we're the last few times we've got knocked out of the FA Cup, we should not have been getting knocked out.
Norwich
Norwich
at home.
Yeah, Norwich at home on penalties. Yeah, last season we played Everton. We should not have lost that game, and yesterday as well. Really, and do you think actually, considering we lost to Borough yesterday, does it maybe put more different context on Mourinho getting to the League Cup final last season?
Not really, because I think
because we beat.
I think we had a really easy run to.
Yeah, but we just lost to Borough.
Yeah, I know that, but we beat Brentford in the Championship in the semi-final.
You got promoted to
year.
Premier League.
Yeah, they got promoted. I know we beat Chelsea on penalties in the first round,
and we beat Stoke away.
Yeah, but I think you got to expect to win those games. I know we've just gone out to Borough, but
there's no
I still
expectation
think
with this squad, and he did it with a worse squad. Well, is it worse? He did it with a different squad.
He had a backup striker. He had Gareth Bale who was scoring goals. I mean, I don't think it says too much, because I think on another day with maybe a few of our players back, with a Bentancur and whatever, I think we could have won that game last night. And we got to the League Cup final under Jose Mourinho, and we had quite an easy run to the final. Let's be honest.
Yeah, but clearly you can't take any game for granted. That's my point.
No, you can't. Yeah, you're
right. That's what we're clearly seeing at the moment. So maybe it should recontextualize it.
I do think that that all these people that were shitting on Jose Mourinho for his whole tenure at Spurs, I think it's clear to see Jose was clearly not the problem.
I think, considering what we've seen this season, I think Jose's done all right.
Yeah, I agree.
Honestly, first of all, he was sacked when we were. I know we ended up finishing 7th, but I think we were top 6 when he got sacked, if I remember rightly. We could have done better in a few games, but most of the time it seemed
we were in touching distance of the top 4 when he got sacked.
Yeah, and it seemed like most of the time in most games we were very competitive, and at least we were winning in a lot of games and end up giving it away late in the games and whatever.
If our fitness levels were like they are now under Mourinho, I think we probably would have made top 4 last season.
I think a lot of the games were probably more in control last season than we are now.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think Jose didn't do a bad job here, and a lot of people will be like, "Oh, he was toxic. He was this. He was that." If he came out with half the stuff that Conte is coming out with,
exactly.
If Jose is our manager this season and he's saying the stuff that Conte's saying, people will call him toxic.
End of the day, we've now had 2 unbelievable 2 serial winners come to this club, and what we're going to do? We're going to say they're the problem and not us. You know what I mean? Clearly the club is the something wrong with the club.
It can't be every single manager's problem. Pochettino got the same tune out of this team in the last year of his tenure.
Mm-hmm.
Mourinho did exactly the same, and now Conte is getting the same. But the manager's the problem.
Yeah, it must be the manager's. Stupid. Expressions just says dickheads. Fair enough.
birthday today. So
Yeah, happy birthday
X.
expressions. Much love, man. Here is a picture of Emerson's defending for the final goal. Doesn't know much about a defensive line, I don't think, does he? Don't think anyone really does, judging by that picture, but especially Emerson. Keeping what's his name onside.
Was
well
Harry Kane onside yesterday, by the way? Because I'm seeing a lot of people saying he's onside, but
I have to watch it back, but from what I saw, he didn't. He looked just off, but
yeah.
look, the angle was hard to tell. It's how from what the camera angle they showed. So I'm not 100% sure. Emerson, I'm not gonna lie, he really pissed me off yesterday when he came on.
So bad when he came on yesterday.
He was terrible. Didn't do one thing right, and he did some really brain dead things where he gets the ball in space. You're like, okay, now you got a chance to run at a fullback or do something. Show a bit of quality. And yesterday was one of the first times for me when I really started to realize, okay, maybe he is that shit. Maybe he isn't going to improve, because that really did worry me yesterday. But yeah, football just says lose 3 straight league games, beat Man City at the Etihad, then lose to relegation fighting Burnley, then crush Leeds and knock out to Burnley. You never know what Tottenham you're going to get. And that's a picture of Harry Kane in Forest Gump uniform.
I think you do know what Tottenham are going to get whenever teams let us have the ball. When teams let us have space and let us play on the counter-attack, that's going to suit us. And that's what we've seen this season. But whenever we get asked to have the possession of the ball and take the game to the other team, that's when we fall flat every single time.
That's what I'm saying. Yesterday wasn't even that. Like they didn't let us have possession.
But when you're coming into the game yesterday, that's what you're thinking. That you're thinking that we're going to dominate the possession coming into this game. I know the game didn't actually pan out like that, but I actually think in the opening half an hour, Middlesbrough were expecting that.
I think it's very similar to the Wolves game. In terms of, except for Wolves, he changed after half an hour when we were 2-0 down, and this time he waited till 80 minutes. I think we couldn't get close to them. I think they dominated in the central areas. It was very easy for them to keep possession and hold it and build confidence. And just like against Wolves, when against Wolves, we switched after half an hour and then we gained a bit of control back. We only gained control in the last 10 minutes of the game in this time, because we changed it in the last 10 minutes. We should have changed it, way, way earlier, and that was really frustrating. He didn't see that.
Yeah.
Mike Fretton, he's replying to Tottenham. What did Tottenham? So Tottenham, they posted a result, and he said, "I'm not even embarrassed because you do it every single year. See you for the same shit next season."
Great.
Yeah, you're probably right. Charlie Eccleshare says, "I was surprised to learn that Son has 6 goals and 4 assists in his last 11 Premier League games. Feel like he's been off colour for many of those games. Maybe, and he was again tonight. Maybe that's a sign of how good he is. That he's still got end product even when he's not at his best."
Yeah, and that's why Conte kept him on the pitch yesterday, because any other player that's not producing those kind of numbers, he would have taken him off very early on, because that's how poor he was.
This is the thing. This is a big problem with us, that because we're so reliant on these players, we can't. Like, for example, Man City. Yeah, if they have Sterling, Foden, and Mahrez on the pitch, if one of them's not playing well, doesn't matter who they are, they'll go off because they got Grealish to come on, or they got Jesus to come on, or they got Bernardo to come on. It doesn't matter who's not playing well. If someone's not playing for Tottenham, if Kane and Son aren't playing well, we can't take them off. We have to keep him on. And that's not to say that's a mistake from Conte to leave him on, because he doesn't have an option but to leave him on.
What's he going to do?
What's he going to do?
Scarlet for half an hour.
What's he going to do? Exactly. So like people say Son's playing rubbish, take him off. It's like he can't. He can't take him off.
Yeah, well, I mean, he could have taken him off for Bergwijn a bit earlier, but we needed more options up there. That's the only thing.
But that's the thing. But he brought on Bergwijn to add an option, not to replace an option. And it nearly worked.
But Son was pretty much hindering us every time he got the ball yesterday. So maybe in hindsight, maybe that's what he should have done.
I don't know. I mean, I think he needed Bergwijn with Son to open up as much space as possible to stretch him. Because if you just replace one for another, maybe it helps. But like, I don't know. I still feel we needed an extra attacking option.
Son was getting the ball in good areas yesterday, but he was just, like I said, miscontrolling it, misplacing the passes. So maybe if Bergwijn was getting it in those areas, maybe better things could have come off.
But Bergwijn was getting it in good areas.
Yeah, he got one with the keeper at one point.
And he nearly, and also as soon as Bergwijn came on, Son also nearly got an assist. But Kulu misscrewed that shot, didn't he?
Yeah.
So that did open up a bit of space.
And also the midfield, like Winks is having a disaster class in the middle yesterday. What are you going to do? Who are you going to bring him on?
There's no one. There's nothing to do.
Alfie Devine or
Harvey White.
Harvey White.
That's the thing. Like people
Half
like
our bench are 17-year-olds.
it's like we criticize. I think Conte should have changed it earlier in terms of formation, but I'm not talking about personnel. Like I know these players are having bad games, but unfortunately the state of our squad just means that we have these players we simply have to rely on, and if they're not playing well and they're not good enough, that's that. They're not good enough and they're not playing well, and we can't do anything about it.
the only thing
that's
we
just
can do
reality.
is change the system to see if any different system will work with those same players.
And that's why I criticise him for. I criticise him for not changing, not bringing on Bergwijn for the sub he made earlier. He should have gone to a back four earlier. That's what I criticise him for. But I don't criticise him for leaving Son on and leaving Kane on and leaving Wing. I just don't, because he doesn't have an option. Unfortunately, that's the biggest problem with our squad.
And also, you just know, even when Son's not playing well, he can always pop up with a goal.
Exactly.
And Kane.
That's true. Ryan says the highlight of the game watching on BBC yesterday when the screen went black, 100%. That was probably the best moment. The World of Hotspur says this current Spurs side can't score goals without Kane and Son, can't defend to save their lives, has no attacking midfielders, has no set piece specialists, has no wing backs Conte trusts, has no senior striker backup, and people wonder why we keep losing games. I think those are all true. I can't apart from Kane and Son, there's literally very minimal goals. Defending seems a massive problem, to be honest, especially from set pieces. Defending seems a massive
Middle
problem.
of the park gets bypassed way too easily.
Yeah. Attacking midfielders, we don't have any. You can argue Kulu, but he's more of a winger, so he's like a secondary attacking midfielder. That's another one. Set piece specialist. Like, when was the last time we even
I'm
looked?
sick and tired of seeing Harry Kane on these free kicks. I
Yeah.
really am. Bloody hell, yesterday was a new low for him and free kicks.
He slipped. Yeah, he slipped, didn't he? We just don't have a player who can take set pieces, and that lights it again. That's a massive problem.
And you're looking at a backup striker, right? 12 million. Someone just mentioned it in the comments. 12 million Weghorst went to Burnley for. Why are we not looking at that?
Yeah.
He would have been such a great option for us. Such a great option for us. If he could have come on last night and changed things. Weghorst is a brilliant player. I've got a lot of
100%.
time for Weghorst.
Yeah, I think he definitely could have provided something. But again, we have this excuse, if we can't find the right striker, then we're going to get no striker. We've been saying that excuse for 5 years.
Yeah.
All right.
And we had one yet last season that did the job whenever called upon.
Yeah, I would have taken him for another year. Why not? It's better than nothing.
Carlos Vinicius could have probably done something last night.
I wouldn't have paid 45 million for him.
No,
But yeah,
definitely
but I would have. He's better than nothing, that's for sure. I don't think PSV paid for. I don't know how much
He's
they
on
paid.
loan there, isn't he?
So I would have taken him on loan again. Why not? Melamodov says we've also returned to that fun game that developed under Mourinho, where a manager decides to keep a player that the player's shit, and then everyone starts saying, "How can we expect to do anything with that player?" I get, yeah, that's true, but
Who's he talking about? Winks.
maybe he's talking about Winks.
It was the same player under Mourinho.
Yeah, probably. Mozo Football says Harry Winks did not win a single ground duel, aerial
Bloody
duel,
hell.
and also dribble past more times than the rest of the Tottenham players combined. You got to do better. So yeah, and I agree with that. As much as like the formation doesn't favour him, there's no excuse for that. There's no excuse for that.
Mate, you're a Premier League player, England international, or let's say former England international now at the
this
age
point.
of what, 25.
Yeah, at this point, yeah.
You have to be doing a lot better than what you're doing, man. It's not good enough. It's not good enough, and it's performances like that you'll relegate you to the Championship. I mean, but like you said before, if he was in that midfield 3 and Johnny Howson was in our midfield 2, then it would have been a different story.
Yeah, but but I understand Wink struggling, right? But at least get 1 or 2 ground duels. No 0. Like, come on, man. That's unacceptable.
Yeah.
Dribble past 5 times. At least get 1 or 2. Like, anyway. Dan Kilpatrick says Harry Kane is 50-50 on whether to try and force a way out of Spurs again at the end of the season. I actually read the article and he said that Harry Kane apparently would have seen an FA Cup win as a very significant step under the progression of Conte and stuff like that. And now with that possibility out of the window, he's very seriously again thinking about what the future holds at Tottenham. You reckon?
We can't go through this every loss. It's too much, man. And like, after every win, everyone's like, yeah, Conte's here, Harry Kane's here. There's a future at this football club. We're going to back Conte in the summer and this and that. And then we go for a loss and it's like, oh, is Conte going to be here beyond the summer? Is Kane going to be here beyond the summer? I mean, I can't take this for much longer. Too much up and downs, up and downs, up and downs. How can everyone's future be called into question every loss? And then after every win, everyone's, oh, yeah, we're going to back Conte in the summer. Everything's going to be okay.
I understand that, but no, I think that's right. I think it's a lot of mental exhaustion comes into that. But unfortunately, when you look at Kane's at that stage of his career, that's just the reality. Like, a few years ago, he might have lost this game and wouldn't have thought much of it. But now, these losses mean a lot more, unfortunately, because he has to start thinking about himself and think about, look, if I'm going to be sticking around here, we can't afford to be losing these kind of games. I need to be fighting for big trophies. I don't want, like, if I'm at City, I'm not going out to Middlesbrough. That's not happening. I'm going to be fighting for trophies.
Yeah.
And is it ever going to happen at Tottenham? And it's nights like yesterday that probably convince him that it's never going to happen.
And they happen way too often, nights like yesterday as well.
You see him when we're, that mad dash in the last 5 minutes, whenever we're in these kind of games, like Kane is the one trying to drag this team, but he just can't do it all by himself.
No, he can't.
And then the last one is Jose Mourinho kept Tottenham on the top of the table for 2 months straight before the hate of the fans matured towards him. He got them to a final, but fans' hate said no. Jose did all of these with Sissoko, Rondon, Jedson Fernandez, Scarlett, Lamella, Lo Celso, Aurier, Dele, Tanguy, and Winks.
Yeah. Completely agree. And I keep saying, I've said it consistently, to be honest, that Jose was not the problem. Jose actually did a good job at Tottenham, in my opinion.
Yeah, we're seeing that at the moment. He did much better than Nuno, that's for sure. And then now Conte's come in. I don't think he's done that much better than Jose did, honestly.
And he probably did better than Poch's latter years as well.
Yeah, probably. I think we slightly improved probably under Jose than on Poch. So, honestly, look, I know hindsight's 2020, but I don't think Jose did. I'm not saying he was unbelievable, but clearly he didn't do that badly.
Jose left this club because of the hate of the fans, and this club were not ready to win. That's why Jose not left this club. It wasn't because Jose did a bad job. It's because the club did a bad job.
We bloody sacked him 6-8 for a final, and that is unforgivable. Man, that's still unforgivable. That is still unforgivable. Just imagine sacking any manager 6 days before a final, especially one who's won most of his finals he's ever managed in.
Not only that, if Jose would have stayed, we could have potentially, I reckon we would have got into the Europa League minimum for this season.
Yeah.
And I think that we would have had a better chance in that final too.
100%. 100%.
That's not saying like I'm unhappy with Conte, because I'm much happier with Conte than I was with Jose, because I think Conte is that much better than Jose.
No, I agree with that.
But the fact of the matter is, this club failed Mourinho. He didn't fail us.
Yeah, I honestly, looking back, I honestly like the football, like the play under Jose really wasn't as bad as we remember it to be, I think. Anyway, all right, that's it.
All right, so that is how Twitter reacted to the damaging defeat in the FA Cup yesterday against Middlesbrough. Now it's time for you guys to have your say on the game last night. And let's start off with Brad Matthews. Oh. Big up, Brad. How you doing today, mate?
Hi, lads. Well, yesterday was the first day of my semi-retirement, and that's how Tottenham Hotspur repaid me. So, yeah.
Congratulations, semi-retirement, Brad. Congratulations.
Yeah, so it wasn't a good day yesterday in football regards.
No, it wasn't. A lot of people, Brad, last night blaming Conte. Where do you kind of lay the majority of the blame for yesterday's result?
Well, you know what? I just read his presser, and he said more or less what I was saying when I'm watching the game at the pub last night. That we seemed to, in the first 20, 25 minutes, we didn't seem to be in trouble. We had the ball, we were passing it around. But I was saying, we have to score, because if we don't score, Middlesbrough will grow into the game. And that's exactly what happened. Yeah. They grow into that first half, and then they just grew. And we didn't, it's the inevitable result in the end. we can all argue about who he should have brought on, who he should have brought off. That team should have beaten Middlesbrough. There's no getting away from that fact. And the fact that we didn't score in that first 20, 25 minutes, we didn't really create a lot, to be honest, but we should have had a couple of goals. I mean, Doherty was through, wasn't he? And I think Kulachevsky had a chance that was cleared. But yeah, you could sense the inevitable as Middlesbrough grew into the game, and it's just tragic Tottenham at the moment.
Yeah, and I was talking to Ben, about we lost to another Championship side yesterday, and does that recontextualise us getting to a League Cup final under Mourinho last season? Everyone said, he had an easy run, but we couldn't even beat a Championship side yesterday to get through the FA Cup.
Yeah, I guess if you put it that way, you're right, because we beat a Championship side to get to the League Cup final in both the quarter-final and the semi-final. Mm-hmm. So yeah, you're probably right, and now we can't beat Championship teams. Last season, I think we probably beat teams in the group stages of our European competition. This time we didn't. It's up and down for me with Tottenham. It's like after a win on Saturday, it's great. These players can play like they can play. We'll do all right. But then they go up to Middlesbrough and perform badly again. It's. I get to the stage now where I'm thinking, there's probably 5-6 players that I'd keep in that team. And I don't like thinking now. I don't like hating all other players. But there are players there that are not good enough. They've got this mentality now where they can't win games, important games. It's very depressing.
And what do you think? There is something to this thought that we do struggle a lot more when we're playing 2 games in a week rather than a 3-week, because as I've outlined before, there does seem to be a bit of history in Mourinho's previous clubs with that. The season he won at Chelsea, he was out of Europe for that whole season, and the next season they're back in Europe. They struggled a lot more in the league. At Inter Milan, they got knocked out the Champions League at the group stages, and then won a brilliant run second half of the season and went on to win the league in that second season. Since he's come to Tottenham, I think we're unbeaten in games where we've had a free week to prepare for it. Yet, as soon as we have less than that, I think we've won 1 or 2 games out of that lot and lost a lot of games. So, is there something to that? Is it the way we play? Does that mean we struggle to play twice in a week? What do you think that is, or lack of rotation?
There's 2 ways of looking at it. The one way is that Conte. We all know that Conte is very meticulous in his planning and his training, and yeah, we do well after a whole week's training. Now, they had a whole week before the Man City game, and tactically we were brilliant that day. We played really, really well. Then you have to change the tactics for Burnley, and we only had 2 or 3 days to do it. So whether it's taking the players, time to sort of to work out how to play and change tactics. So either that's the problem, or the problem is we've got players that are basically a bit dim and takes a long time to learn stuff. Because we same situation. We've now got 6 days now before we play Everton. So it'll be interesting to see how we play against Everton.
Yeah, definitely. But back on the game in terms of Conte's decision making last night. Do you think that he took a bit too long, to imprint his changes on the game last night?
I think he probably could have made a change at half time, maybe. But at half time, I didn't feel too worried, because I thought, well, yeah, we've sort of haven't been really under pressure. They didn't really create much in that first half. But then as the second half started, and then they had the 3 headers, didn't they, from those 2 set pieces?
Yeah.
And then you think, well, now's the time to sort of, and we weren't going to score anytime soon. So, yeah, that's when you make your changes. And didn't you say that Bergwijn came on, what 10 minutes to go or something?
10 minutes to go, yeah.
Yeah, no, they should have been on earlier. Should have been on much earlier. And I thought Bergwijn, when he came on, he did a bit. He was running at them and caused a few problems. But what can you do in 10 minutes? I mean, maybe Conte's thinking was that, well, we've got extra time, so maybe I'm not bringing them on with 10 minutes to go. I'm bringing them on with 40 minutes to go. I don't know, but I thought he could have changed it a bit earlier last night, definitely.
All right, Brad. Thanks for coming on today, mate, and
we'll
speak to you very soon. Congratulations on semi-retirement, my friend.
Yeah,
Congrats,
I've frozen as well.
No, you're not frozen. We can see you fine.
Oh, right. Okay, brilliant. Okay, have a great day, lads, all right?
And to you, mate. See you.
See you later. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. That was Brad. Super chat here from B Singh HD saying Poch raised concerns about the team immediately after beating Man United 3-0 away. He coached the players for years, but the board still didn't listen to him. And we're suffering from that right now. We're still suffering from that right now.
100%. 100%. How many times do you have to say it? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I sound like a broken record, the amount of times. Over the years, we've just said the problems, the same consistent problems.
The funny thing is, I remember, I just remember very clearly when Pochettino was struggling at the beginning of that season, we said there are two options. Either you sack him and then and you get a new manager to try and get more out of the players we got, or you let Poch have a bad season and you give him the rebuild he deserves and you give him a bit more time.
Yeah.
And we said if it was up to us, we'd give Poch the rebuild because I think he's earned that. I think the club chose the wrong option and we've been suffering it ever since.
Yeah. All right, let's bring on our next guest, which is Ed from We Want Trophies TV. Ed, how are we doing, brother?
Welcome, Ed.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, I'm okay. Like yesterday it wasn't a shock for me, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, it's just that thing where you expect us to play some football, get the ball on the deck and pass it around and create some chances, and just every time we're asked to do that, we just fall flat on our asses. I mean, what is it about this football team?
I think it's when, like what you mentioned before in terms of the free week, this team, we don't have the quality to be able to play like every Wednesday, Saturday. So it takes a while for us to adapt to that. I also think that if you're starting with Winks in the middle on a consistent basis, you're going to get these inconsistencies.
Yeah, that's definitely true. And I said that last week. I said, it's all right to play Winks in the odd game here and there, but when he's asked to have a consistent run in the team, that's when he falls short. But I mean, what options do we have? We're looking at the midfield last night. Who we got? Harvey White and Alfie Devine on the bench.
We don't have options. I think this is why Conte really, really wants Skip back in the team, because we look like a different team when we've got Skip and Bentancur. And I think those are the two that will actually be our central midfield once they're fit, because you look at Winks, we know what Winks is in terms of inconsistency. Højbjerg, as much as I think he's great for the squad and he's a leader, I don't think he's someone we can have long-term going forward, because I think the quality is just not there.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. And when you're looking at Bentancur and Skip, right, you're looking at the old Pochettino team where we were fighting for titles and fighting in the Champions League final and stuff like that. And you're looking at Wanyama and Dembele. Yeah. Even, I was talking about Højbjerg compared to them, but even Skip and Bentancur, who are two better midfielders compared to them, is still a mile off, isn't it?
Yeah, it's still night and day. It's still night and day when you compare them to. But you can see we look a lot more positive in terms of going forward and comfortable with the ball when either one of those two are playing. When you've got Højbjerg, he gives the ball away a lot. Winks, he always gets bullied. I think what is the truth about Winks, he's been exposed. When he was playing well, we had Dembele next to him. Dembele run that midfield. Yeah. And now there's no one of that caliber next to him. We're seeing his true colours.
Yeah, and he's getting dominated by like Johnny Howson and these people. Like, I know, like, but how much of that do you put on the formation? Can he handle playing in a two midfield up against a three? Do you put any blame on that, or do you think it doesn't matter what the formation is when if you're a certain caliber, you should be able to deal with it?
I think if you're a certain caliber, you should be able to deal with it. But I think with Winks, with the midfielders we have, he can't. He's not good enough for that. I don't think he's the top half of the table midfielder, to be honest. I think he's a bottom half of the table midfielder, and we don't have any players that can cover that up. And it's all right him coming in game, like some games coming in, but on a regular, nah, not going forward.
And I know it's a bit of revisionism, but like looking at our January business, we let go of Lo Celso and Ndombele in January, and we haven't got those type of profile players now in the squad. They're like, I understand he wasn't using them, so it's best to get rid of them. But surely those are the type of players for games like yesterday and games like Burnley that we really could have used. Like a bit of quality in the final third. People who aren't scared when players are coming at them to try and win the ball off them and appreciate space a lot more than the players we have right now. That's surely a big player we're missing in the squad.
Oh yeah. I would have kept Ndombele till the end of the season if I'm being honest, because we don't have anyone like him. As much as we can fault his mentality and stuff like that, we do not have anyone in the same league when it comes to going forward with the ball in midfield, and it's showing. It's showing. Not having a backup striker as well, that's showing because Kane's playing every game, and Kane's not going to play great every game. Last season we have Vinicius. A game like yesterday, he would have played and probably would have scored. Son hasn't played well all season, but the stats are not showing that. We don't have anyone of the same quality to come in. Hence why he stayed on yesterday, because he was appalling yesterday. If anything, every time he got the ball, he looked like he was going to lose it.
Yeah, and he more or less did. More or less did. I mean, do you blame any of Antonio Conte's decisions in terms of his game management yesterday, or was it just the quality of players, in your opinion?
I think he could have changed it earlier, but you saw in extra time that when he changed it, the reason why he plays free at the back, because we were just letting chance after chance after chance, and I was saying
It's true
that they're gonna score. They were always gonna score once he changed it, and maybe he should have changed it earlier, so that it could have been more of an end-to-end game, and then we have a chance of scoring. But you can see why. You can see why.
I think you're right, but I think there was when he made the subs on 81, and I think from 81 till about 5 minutes into the first half of extra time, it was all Tottenham, and it looked like it was only a matter of time we were going to score. And then Wilder made a couple of changes in response, and then Borough gained that energy back. And as soon as that happened, it was all Borough. And Borough were the ones creating all the chances. And I think they exploited our openness at that point. But I think we did have probably a 10 to 15 minute period where we could have won the game. And I think that probably cost us. But you're right, if we could have changed it earlier, like we were not creating anything, let's be honest, up until those changes. And but it's difficult because we say you can change it and stuff, but like I was talking to Ben before, it's like if you're Liverpool, you're Man City, or you're Chelsea, and you've got a striker, it doesn't matter who they are. If you've got a forward player who's off it and not playing well, you can change him. You can bring him off. If Sterling's not playing well, you can bring on Grealish. If Foden's not playing well, you bring on Gabriel Jesus. If you're Chelsea, if Ziyech isn't playing well, you got Pulisic to come in or whatever it is. But Tottenham, if Son's not playing well, you just can't change him.
Exactly. That was the problem yesterday, and you can see why he kept him on. But I was thinking, he's actually a liability. He needs to come off. And you look at when we had Poch, if someone was having a bad game, he came off because we had a squad that we didn't rely on Son back then. Goals came from everywhere in our team. So it just exposes the lack of quality.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. It's a hard one to take, Ed, but, can we move forward in this season with any sort of positivity and achieve any of our goals this season? Is top four completely out of the question for you?
I don't think we're going to get top four, but I think we've got a better chance getting top four now we're out of the FA Cup, because we're going to have less games. And clearly with this squad, playing once a week will suit them a lot better than playing every 3 days. They're just not good enough for that. At least if we play once a week, we have a starting lineup that's going to be consistent. Unlike when you play this team back to back, every time we're getting found out. Every time he's kept the same team from a winning match, the next game we've been awful.
Yeah.
And so it's going to be difficult. It's going to be difficult.
Well, let's keep our heads up, Ed. Thanks for coming on today, mate, and we'll speak to you soon.
Yeah, take care, guys.
Nice one, Ed. Cheers for coming on.
Mate. Good call.
Yeah, really good call.
Really good call there from Ed. But let's keep going and let's go to Tommy. How's it going, Tommy?
Big up, gents. Yeah, not too bad. I'm more surprised this morning that Spurs fans are surprised, if I'm being perfectly honest.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, you're probably right, because I wasn't really surprised with that performance yesterday. I mean, what do you put that performance down to yesterday? Is it just a clear lack of quality of personnel, or did Antonio Conte not make the right decisions within the game to change it?
Am I really freezing here? Freezing?
Yeah, you are.
Oh, man. Doesn't usually happen.
Oh, man.
I stream like 6 times a week. It never happens. Let me try and fix it.
It's all right.
No, I better bounce. Boys. I'll try and fix it. I think
All right,
Daigle
try
Nate is
come back
waiting,
on.
isn't he? The Daigle
Yeah,
Nate is
try
waiting.
come back on. We'll get you back
All
on.
right, sweet.
All right, we'll try get Tommy back on, but let's go to someone in his brand new We Are Tottenham TV t-shirt. Wow, look at that.
Look at that.
Brian.
Representing. Good morning,
It's like
boys.
a walking billboard, Mr. Brian Daigle.
I am indeed, mate. A tattoo, a t-shirt. You need to start bringing out new merch for me to wear.
Yeah, definitely. So talk to me, Brian. Well, what do you want to talk about today?
What is there to talk about, mate? Just
What are
like
you
I said,
having for dinner tonight?
what am I having for dinner tonight? I actually don't know. 'Cause I don't know if I'm. I might be with Kim because I'm seeing Bob's tomorrow. So it depends what me and Kim do. But yeah, it's just. I mean, I watched the press conference at the beginning of the show. He just looks deflated, doesn't he?
Mm.
He just looks seriously deflated.
So
and
Brian, is it even more worrying when he's not losing his shit in the press conferences? It's like, does he even care anymore?
yeah, you know what? You actually raised a really good point, Simeon. At least when he's talking smack and he's getting his points out there, you're like, all right, there's a guy of fire, passion, and then whatever. And yes, I mean, this morning what we just saw was just like, yeah, well, what do you know? Yeah,
Brian, why is the narrative with Jose Mourinho that he did a terrible job at Spurs, and when he used to come out and speak like Antonio Conte spoke, he's called a poisonous atmosphere and all that kind of stuff. And when Antonio Conte does it, it's because he doesn't have what he needs and stuff like that. Why is that the narrative?
So do you know what? When Jose was doing this, I loved it as well because it had to happen. It had to happen. Too much Mr. Nice Guy and players not being held accountable. I think the reason that it's been doing this way is obviously when Jose Mourinho does start doing that, not just Tottenham, at all clubs, it's kind of when the writing's on the wall for him. Like he's had the 2 years of doing what he does, he's got the backing, and then when it starts to go wonky and he's being found out in his third season, as always, that's when he starts saying this and starts throwing players under the bus, and obviously the comments you just said. But I think what the difference is, Antonio Conte's doing this right from the beginning. Yeah. So he's not doing it at the end as okay, yeah, whatever, and trying to deflect the blame. He's coming out right from the beginning and saying this is how it is, this is what's happening, this is what's going on, this is what we need. Whilst it's the early stages of his tenure, not the end, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, fair enough. And in terms of the game last night, I know we spoke about it in length yesterday, but any new thoughts this morning?
No, I mean, again, you just look at it, and I think this has been said now. I mean, if it's when it comes to Everton, what I would say, if Skip or Bentancur aren't fit, you've honestly got to try Højbjerg and one of the youngsters, whether it be Divine or Harvey White, because you know what you're getting here. We've seen it time after time after time after time. And I would imagine Everton will play, even though it's Lampard, I think Lampard will say, right, we know how to beat them. And he may go a little bit more pragmatic. So you just can't play Winks. At least Højbjerg gives you the steel and the determination. You saw, I mean, I watched it. Someone retweeted yesterday, and it was like Harry Winks can't even get a professional foul right. Like when he lost the ball, when you went downstairs, and me and Simeon were watching that bad pass, he actually tries to foul someone, and he can't even do that right. So I think moving forward from now, if Skip and Bentancur aren't fit for Everton, I seriously would start Højbjerg and one of the youngsters.
Who though? Because you can't rely on a 17-year-old kid. We've seen
you can't rely on a 25-year-old Winks.
No, I get that, but it might be even worse with a 17-year-old kid. We've seen Dane Scarlett come in, and he looks like a boy amongst men. Harvey White, he's 20 years old, right? Harvey White, he's only a year younger than Kulusevski, and he couldn't hold down a first-team role consistently at Portsmouth last season, who were in League One. And Conte sees him every week in training. So, I mean, surely if he was good enough at that age, Conte would be putting him in already.
Well, the only thing I'll say is that, Ben, you're right in a large proportion of what you say. But the thing is, we look at it and say, how can you do this? Well, the thing is, managers have done this and it comes off sometimes. Not every time. And then again, if he tries it and it doesn't work, at least we try something different. At least you can say we've tried to freshen this up. We've tried to go down a different style. We've tried to combat something rather than just repeating the same stuff over and over and over again and expecting to get a different result.
Yeah.
At least you're experimenting and trying. You know what? I'm not saying, I mean, everyone knows how big of a fan of Alfie Devine I am. At least if he comes on, you can say, do you know what? He's got some minutes. He's either had an impact in the game or not, but at least it's at home. And it's not like the toxic or not hostile away support. And he can attempt it. And you never know. It may just come off. But once again, it's to say, do you know what? I'm a manager. I try something different. And we try something because it's not working. And I think we can all see Harry Winks against Leeds. Great, because they play a very, very open football, brand of football where there's spaces you can use. Against teams that play like Middlesbrough, you may as well start with 10 men.
Yeah, that's the truth. Do you think there? Because looking at the stats, we've definitely struggled when we've had to play 2 games in a week, and it does seem to be a bit of a theme in Conte's past, where he does seem to be better at 2 games when he's playing 1 game a week. Do you think it's something to do with his tactics, or do you think maybe at the moment it's just a bit of a coincidence that we've struggled in the midweeks?
I think it's a complete coincidence and just goes to show how poor this squad has been over years, when you can say, oh my God, Tottenham can't play 2 games a week. As Premiership elite athletes, they struggle to play 2 games a week. How bad does that sound?
Yeah, it does sound terrible.
That's the thing. This has got. I mean,
but Conte's way of playing is very demanding, isn't it? If we're playing with the 3-4-3, the wing backs have to be super fit, because they have to play. There has to be wingers and fullbacks in the same game. If the midfield too, because we have so little options, they have to play every game and they have to cover a lot of ground, because there's usually 2 up against 3 in the middle. So you can from that point of view, do you understand maybe more why we're struggling with the fitness levels at 2 games a week against other teams?
Not really, Simeon, because if you look at it, Pochettino's wasn't exactly a holiday camp, was it?
True.
And literally, that was Champions League, Premier League, Cups. All right, he went differently with the domestic cups, as we know, but everyone knows just how grueling Pochettino's training was from pre-season onwards, and we managed to deal with that absolutely fine until the end. Obviously, regularly in the top 4, Champions League regularly didn't affect us then.
Yeah, no, but you're right. It didn't affect us then because the quality was much better in the squad. When you're looking at the fullbacks, we had Trippier and Kyle Walker who would rotate a lot. You'd have Danny Rose and Ben Davis who would rotate a lot on the left-hand side. What have we got now?
Well, that's the thing. I mean, I was gonna put a tweet out about this earlier, but I thought knowing me, I'm gonna blatantly run out of characters, and I get really pissed off by the time I start writing a really in-depth one. I'm like, how do you shorten this? You look at it, so Harry Kane, backup replacements or assistants. Well, we know all laughable. Heung-min Son, replacements, help or what laughable. You look at the right backs, we've degraded every single goddamn time. The central defence, as we were speaking about, I was on here a few weeks ago when I said you had probably the 3 you could say would probably have been the regulars would have been Dyer, Vertonghen, and Toby. Maybe added Foyth occasionally and Kevin Wimmer. But now you look at it, the defence, there's 10 players in that defence right now, and Emerson is the one that obviously stands out leagues above everyone. Eric Dyer has been the most consistent. Doherty, okay, he played well against Leeds and I think did well yesterday whilst he was on the pitch. Then you look at the centre-backs, and if these 3 don't play, it's a mess. Left-backs, like I said, Session, who I think, again, first half was okay, but this is not the style or the quality. As you said, Ben, when we had Pete Poch, he had a group of players there that were not just quality, but leaders as well. And we've just lost so much in the depth of this squad is just shocking. The leaders, there's nowhere to be seen apart from obviously Kane. I say Kane, Lloris, and Dyer. And Højbjerg, sorry, let's put Højbjerg in there for his leadership qualities, or at least attitude. It's a summer where this summer, yes, we're all saying it's going to be, or people say it's going to be a big summer. Big isn't the word. It needs to be a humongous summer, and it needs players out and players in, but the players need to come in before the players go out for once. So we know the quality is there rather than waiting for someone to go out to then get it in. Players going out has to be a necessity as well, but most importantly, we need leaders. We need attitudes and mentality where players aren't going to stand for this and really ruffle some feathers.
Yeah, and that's completely spot on, because when you look at the squad that we had in the peak Pochettino era, apart from Lloris, Kane and Son, who are still there now, every single position pretty much has been downgraded on, hasn't it? Every single one.
Completely. I mean, I can't. I mean, Toby, I love. Jan, I absolutely adore, and Romero is nowhere near their level. He's got the capability to get there. Don't get me wrong, he is going to get there. But right now, people are saying he's world class. We use that word way, way, way too easily. He has the potential to be world class, and he is showing that he has the capability to get there and get there quick. But I wouldn't say he's in their league at the moment, nowhere near. And every other position is laughable. If you look at that one where we finished second, we had Dembele and Wanyama, which to me that season was the best central midfield pairing in the league, bar none. And to me that season, Wanyama was even our player of the season, even though Harry Kane smashed the goal. He was unstoppable. And now it's Winks and Højbjerg.
Yeah, absolutely. Just before you go, I got a comment here for you from The Truth Sets Free, and he says, Levi in, Levy out.
Damn right. I'm going to go see my nephew before I go, and I'm going to try and see if I can get him some of his money from his parents to buy the club, so it can buy in all the goddamn time. But yeah,
have they got a spare £3 billion lying around?
Well, do you know what? If they have, I'm going to be having an inquiry with my sister why I haven't received any of it. So apart from that, yeah, but I completely agree with him. And today will be the return when I say goodbye to you of my normal goodbye. And yeah, I can see you've got Mr. Tommy Talks Ball coming on, and I'm going to speak to him later about his Levy spend, which he was saying in January, to say good job on that. But yeah, I'll let you get on to my man Tommy.
All right, big up, Brian. Speak to you
soon. And as always, Levy out.
Super chat here from the Joracle saying Conte is still pushing fitness levels in training, coupled with that 2 running heavy games like that, like the last 2, and the wheels come off. Conte should have selected more fresh legs to start yesterday. I mean, I get that, and in an ideal world, I would probably agree with that, but we just don't have the legs. We don't have the personnel.
I would have switched to fullbacks, but then again, Doherty was one of our better players yesterday, so it's hard to criticise that as well.
And Emerson, when he came on, was absolutely shocking.
Yeah, so it's hard to see where he changed it.
I really would have started Reguilon.
Yeah, Reguilon I would have started, yeah.
And I would have even thought about starting Bergwijn yesterday too.
Yeah. Yeah, but then again, if Son didn't start and we lost, you know what I mean? He would have come
maybe instead of Kulu.
Yeah, could have played Kulu instead. But again, he was probably our brightest attacker.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Let's go back to Tommy. Let's see if his camera's better. That's better, Tommy. How we doing, bro?
Yeah, I'm all good.
All good,
fantastic.
Mate. All good.
Oh, good. I just want to respond to Brian there. I love the Dagonator. But Levy spend comes from my mentality of I don't think they're going anywhere. It's a simple. I don't think Levy or Enoch are going anywhere fast. So for me, the brief has to change. The brief of getting young players in, the budget has to increase, and this addictiveness to signing young players over more experienced players. We know Conte has more experienced players in his team and is successful with them. Ranocchia, Moses, Ashley Young. So we need to change the brief because I don't think they're going anywhere, and we need to spend more money. That's where Levy spend comes from. But I love Brian. Brian knows this, but we all love Brian. But as I said, yesterday's result. I'm more surprised that Spurs fans are surprised.
Yeah, I mean, why do you think yesterday doesn't shock you? It's a championship team. Surely we should be expecting better.
We should, but they play deep. They're a pragmatic team. They're a pragmatic outfit. We've struggled against them all season. These types of teams. Burnley, just a week ago. When other teams can sort of park the bus, get away with parking the bus against us, we fail miserably to open them up. And that was what was missing yesterday. I don't even think it was down to a lack of passion. Ed said it perfectly. Quality. The quality to break down their centre midfield was not there. We made Housen look like Iniesta type. He had so much time on the ball. It was insane. We lack the ability to break teams down, these pragmatic teams down. And it's been like that all season.
We were talking before, Tommy, about the stats behind Antonio Conte in terms of when he has a full week on the training ground and how the results are a lot better. Do you think that's a bit of coincidence, or do you think there's actually something in that?
Yeah, I mean, is that based on simply Spurs, or is this based on
it's
his
true
career?
it's true with Spurs, and if you look at his previous jobs as well, he does seem to fare better. I think naturally most managers would fare better, I guess, but he seems to be at his best when his teams have a free week. He seems to struggle a bit more when he's forced to play a couple games a week, and definitely since coming to Tottenham, I think of the games we've had at least 5 days to prepare for. There's Vitesse at home, Leeds at home, Brentford at home, Liverpool at home, Leicester away, Brighton in the FA Cup, and Man City. And so we've won 6 and drawn 1. And the other games where we've had less than 5 days, that's where all our losses have come from. Oh, is he gone?
I think he's frozen again. Sorry, Tommy, but I'm not sure what's going on there, but the connection doesn't seem to be good. But let's keep going. We've got Jules waiting to come on. We'll speak to Jules next. How you doing, Jules?
Hello. How you doing? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you loud and clear.
Thanks for coming on, man.
How are you?
Oh, I think, can you hear me still?
Yeah, you're still there, mate.
Oh,
Don't worry.
Sorry, Tommy was talking as well, I think. Anyway, yeah, how you doing, guys? Just a couple of things. I'm just trying to stay positive, you know. I want to be positive until at least the summer, and because I can't just keep the whole cycle of we're in, then we're out, we're good, then we're terrible. Just think, let's see this season through. Hopefully, we'll have Conte, and then in the summer we can go all in on a Levy out campaign. See what they do, you know. Maybe they do have loads of money. Maybe it's all a grand plan. You know, I just think.
Is that not wishful thinking, Jules?
Try and stay positive.
Is that not wishful thinking? How can you stay positive after a game like yesterday?
I don't know. I'm just trying, you know. I just need to try and stay positive because it's hard. It's hard, you know. And I just want to try and stay positive. We've still got Conte. That's a good thing, right? We all know that. If he can do, there's no one else better in the world. We've still got him, yeah? So let's just plow through, get to the summer, get behind the team, try and be positive at the matches, and do you know what I mean? And just support them, because the negativity will seep through, and it will just make things worse, right? I think there's loads of negativity at the club. Of course there is, and everything everyone's saying is right. We all know it's right. We all know all the players aren't good enough. We all know that Levy's just messed it up time and time again over the years. But we have to try and stay positive. And I think, like, if this summer comes and everything is still as bad as we think it will be, then we can go all in. I think the fan base will get rid of Levy. It's going to have to be. But until then, let's just get behind the team and try and see the positives.
Jules, what does a positive end to the season look like for you at this stage?
Not getting relegated, but, you know.
Bring the positivity, Jules. We're
Come
staying
on!
up.
We have hit 40 points, I can confirm.
Yeah. So I think, you know, top half is good enough, man. Like, for a reason.
Is it good enough for Kane? Is it good enough for Conte to stick around, just a top half finish?
Yeah, that's another big if, but I think we still get good money for Kane, even if he does go.
Yeah, but how do we replace those goals that he brings into the side? And not only that, but, you know, if we finish mid-table, no European football next year, First of all, does Conte stick around? And second of all, do we have enough pulling power to bring in the players that we want to bring in?
I know. These are all big questions, and they're all very, very, very valid questions. But and no one knows, of course. And I agree. Like top four, if we don't get top four, the rebuild is going to be harder. Will Conte bother staying? Maybe not. But until then, at least let's try and support the boys. Let's try and think positive. I know, like everything everyone said is so true. Like, I mean, Emerson Royale, 25 million for that guy. What are we doing? Winks, yes, God, it's just, I mean, and yeah, the two of them, like what the gent just said a minute ago, we had Wanyama and Dembele, and now we've got Winks and Højbjerg. It's mind-boggling how the decline, it's the steep decline.
All over the pitch. It's not even just them. It's literally all over the pitch.
It's shocking. It really is, and it's just. There's only one guy to blame, right? And everyone knows who that is. This terrible decision making. It's just comical. I mean, I think it goes back. Obviously, we all know it goes back to Poch. Sacking Poch was mind-bogglingly stupid. I said it at the time, like to everyone else. I mean, a lot of discontent among the fans at the time because we weren't used to seeing that level of performance for a while. But sacking him was such a mistake. Like I knew it would be. And then to compound the mistake by sacking Mourinho is just even more stupid. It's just stupidity after stupidity. And it's just, this is the final roll of the dice, right, for that guy. And there's nowhere else to go, as we all know. But I just think we've got to try and get behind the team. We've got to try and stay positive. And we'll see, right? What are we going to do to address these problems? Who knows? I mean, what they tried to do with Fonseca as well. I remember when we before we got Conte, it was just ridiculous. So they said, "Oh yeah, we want a coach who's going to play expansive football. We're going to get young players in, great." And then we go for Conte. It just shows that everyone at the club just hasn't got any idea of any strategy. They're out of the depth. They don't know what they're doing. Okay, fine. I think they did really well with starting with like Joel and Redknapp, and then obviously Poch, and it's the same people, so they did well there. They made some mistakes, but overall they did a good job, right? But they really, really fucked it up royally. And if you fuck up so royally, you've got to pay the price, right? And they're paying the price. They've got to go. But until then, let's just try and get behind the team at least. And yeah, I just feel, it's just, and that's another thing. We can't control football matches. It's like only very few times we control the football match. Once maybe against Leicester, we were really controlling it. Other times, yeah, maybe against City, obviously we won. But what I mean by like under Poch, we would control games, grab the game by the scruff of the neck. We just can't do that anymore, and we need that strategy for those kind of games, like Middlesbrough, Burnley.
Why do you think we can't control it? Why do you think that is?
Just don't have the players. The midfield is not good enough. The midfield is nowhere near good enough. And they just don't complement each other either. So the recruitment strategy has been horrendous. There's got to be Mitchell, right?
Hitchin, you mean, but he's gone now. Hitchin's left.
He's gone, I know. So hopefully that's another reason to be positive with any luck. Although I don't know who bought that guy, Emerson Royale, for 25 mil. But if we can just stay positive that the people know what they're doing, we've got now in charge. Let's hope. We bought two good players, Bentancur, and I think everyone can agree on that at least. And Reguilon's decent. We've got, when he's playing well, he's not had a good season, has he? But it's not all doom and gloom. They didn't lift. We can have an off day. We've had several off days, but a lot of off days. But let's think. Okay, look. If they can develop a strategy for these games where we can't counter-attack, because since Jose basically it's just been counter-attacking is our philosophy. We can't control matches anymore. If we can get those kinds of games, so we've got the counter-attack down. That's a good thing to have in the locker. We can get the midfield and perhaps even the number 10 that we've all been talking about. If we can get those kinds of players, and I think he knows it. They know what they need. If we can do it, then we'll be all right, And let's just hope, fingers crossed, that they stay. Conte will stay, Conte and Paratici, because if they don't, then we truly are. Then we're going to have to go as a fan base go and start doing the protesting and all that, and it's going to be grim. But what else? Where else do we go from there? That's it. So until then, though, come on, you Spurs. Let's keep it up, man. Let's keep up the positivity. Is all I'm trying to.
I'm loving trying to input some positivity in the fan base. I do love that. But Jules, is this your first time calling on?
I spoke to David on a couple of days after Man City. I was in a great mood and I rang in.
Oh, right, okay.
Today it's lovely speaking to you both, and thanks for the channel. I appreciate
nice
it.
One, Jules.
I listen all the time. Yeah, so appreciate you guys. You always cheer me up.
Brilliant.
You're the one cheering us up.
Yeah, exactly.
Today,
You're the one cheering us up today. So big up, Jules. Thanks for
Appreciate
coming on, and hope to speak to you very
Come on,
soon.
you Spurs. Take care of yourselves, yeah?
You too,
Nice
mate.
one.
Up the Spurs.
I do love that. I mean, as much as he's trying to give us. He said we have to stay positive. Then he was giving us reasons why everything's shit, and then didn't really give us reasons why things are positive. But we just have to stay positive despite
Blind
everything.
positivity. I love it.
Despite
Blind
everything being
positivity.
shit, I think we have to stay positive. I think is his point. But I would have appreciated a few reasons to stay positive. But it's all right.
A few super chats coming in. I mean, Carl Patrick Vineyard trying to get on.
KPV.
All he needs to do is click the link and come on, and the back end team will let him on. The truth sets free with a super chat saying, "Love you guys. First of all, second, Conte told us 5 players out and 2 players in was not good for us. He knows the squad depth issues."
And I think, unfortunately, after the window, you probably asked me, what positions do you really number one now not to get injured? You're probably like centre mid, and now we've had 2 injuries in centre mid, and now we're completely lacking. And I think there's a super chat before from Faz Radfar, who we didn't read out. He says, Delhi would advise Frank to target Winks.
Yeah, probably.
And you're probably right about that. Yeah, Delhi's probably telling everyone how shit we are.
Not just targeting Winks, but target Emerson as well. Target this one, target that one. There's so many tier players he can target. And Dinesh M with the super chat saying, we have stars all over the pitch except for the midfield.
And the wing back.
And the wing backs. Yeah.
All over.
And the centre backs.
All over, though. We have stars up front.
We have a star in Harry Kane and Heung-min Son.
Exactly.
We've got 2 stars. Anyway, let's move on. He's down as Brad THFC, but I'm pretty sure his name is Dan THFC.
Unless he's changed his name.
Well, has he changed his name? What's going on here? No, it is Dan THFC.
Yeah.
Dan, how are we doing today,
Dan.
man?
Horrific. I woke up and I wished it was a nightmare.
Yeah, and it most definitely
Wow,
We're
was.
man.
living a nightmare, Dan, unfortunately. That's how we all are, Spurs fans. That's the duty we pay.
I mean, I question why I'm surprised though, because like when we play these teams that can actually play attacking football, that actually could defend. Actually, we always suffer. And I was just sitting there watching the game when that through ball was played in for the goal that they scored, and I just see Emerson Royale trying to block a shot from the halfway from. I don't even know what this guy's doing anymore. I just felt so helpless. Like this team, man, and I can't even like. Oh my God, I had so much hopes for the FA Cup this season. I've never been alive to see us win a trophy. I wanted to see an FA Cup or maybe a Carabao Cup last season when we lost in the final.
Too much to
All
ask,
these-
Dan.
Yeah, honestly, now I feel like that because it's always been these games where you feel like you're gonna win. It's an easy opposition, and then you end up losing. And fair play to them because they actually played a fantastic game. And I was going on Twitter, and there was a few people saying, "Oh, it was just their day. It was just their day." How many of these teams are just gonna have their day against us?
Yeah.
It's every time now. It's almost like if we're letting them have their day. It's teams are lined up. They want to play Tottenham Hotspur because they know if they play us, they're gonna have the opportunity to beat us. And it's like I forget who we lost to in the Europa League last season, but that was super
Zagreb.
depressing. Yeah, Dinamo Zagreb. I would even go as far as saying that this result was even more embarrassing than Dinamo Zagreb.
Wow. Well, I mean, you're forgetting the Zagreb game, we were 2-0 up as well.
Yeah, but we easily should be beating this team, and we had so many chances. I'm Son's number 1 fan. I am Son's number 1 fan in this team. He is my favorite football player right now in the world. But yesterday's performance was not good enough from Sonny, and let's say we would have bought Luis Diaz and we would act like a big club and put the money in and got him in the club, we would have had a replacement for him and had Luis Diaz, and then we have Kulusevski on the right. Luis Diaz is looking world class for Liverpool,
Yes.
Yeah.
but Sonny was not good enough. There were so many players that were not good enough. It was just a horrific performance yesterday.
Dan, do you think that Conte could have done anything to change the course of a result last night?
There was barely anybody else on the bench. He changed up to four at the back, but once you're already in a game and you already start getting in the rhythm, not that the players were getting in the rhythm, but they were getting used to the formation. It's really hard to switch formation in a moment like that in extra time. Uh, but it's understandable that he did so because we needed a goal. But then we saw how many chances they were getting, and there was Hugo Lloris making a bunch of saves, and tackles being made. We need to learn how to defend more efficiently and more consistently because we're the most inconsistent team in the world right now. We could beat anybody in the world, but we could also lose that to anybody in the world. That's how our club is running right now, and it's we have to start changing things up because we can't continue losing and or drawing to these teams that easily could be beating us. Antonio Conte, look, I'm happy that he's at the club, but the response that the fans are giving him now, the way that they're saying, if this was Nuno Espirito Santos, all the fans would be on Twitter saying Nuno out, Nuno out, Nuno out, and we're the fact that we're giving him a pass because it's Conte. I don't understand that, but at the same time, we're lucky.
But Dan, let's be honest, right? Pochettino, same thing happened under him. Jose Mourinho, the same thing happened under him. Nuno, the same thing happened under him. And now Conte, the same thing's happening under him. So how many managers can we actually blame? Every single manager we seem to be blaming that's coming through the door.
Yeah, that's another problem. We keep blaming the managers. It's the players that are the problems, and it's what Antonio Conte said when we lost to Burnley. Different managers, same players. We don't take out the players that are messing up this club and the mentality that's taking this club to the ground. And we keep just saying it's the manager's fault. Oh, it's the manager's fault. And the chairmans, they don't even have a plan anymore.
Yeah.
It's they're just surprising the fans, right? It's just for the fans' amusement because if he really wants to play attacking football, he would have not gotten Antonio Conte. He would have not gotten Jose Mourinho, and they're just want us to say we've got one of the best managers in the world. They just want us to get excited because Levy appointing Jose Mourinho, appointing Conte, I feel like was a PR stunt. It was never that he was really gonna back him. Because we know, then when he realized that Antonio Conte was not going to take no for an answer, then he had to get in two Juventus boys in the last minute.
Yeah.
With Levy, we need to start getting an idea because if we want to start playing attacking football, how are we going to play attacking football with Jose Mourinho and Antonio Conte? That makes absolutely no sense. And I wanted to bring up the option because a lot of people were saying Skippy and Bentancur in the midfield. I'm not really. I think next season it could actually be Pep Matar Sarr and Bentancur in the midfield.
But I mean, Papa Sarr isn't even hardly getting into the Mets team at the moment. So how's he going to get into our team? Mets are bottom of Liga.
I haven't really been seeing, but I heard he's a quality player, and I've seen a little bits of him.
I mean, last season he played quite a considerable amount of games, but this year he's in and out of the team massively. And, he's a young kid. I wouldn't put so much pressure on him just yet. I think he's going to need time to develop, that's for sure. I think to put so much pressure on him to say he can come in straight away and be the player that we want, I think it might be a stretch too far and a bit unrealistic, yeah.
Yeah, but he'll definitely be, most likely he'll be better than Winks.
Yeah, you're probably right about that. But yeah, it's difficult at the moment. So where do we go from here? What does a good season now look like for you from now to the end of the season?
Let's just fight. I don't even think top four is anymore because we're losing to these teams, and the teams that we need to beat to get points, we keep missing out. But a lot of other clubs are also missing out on points as well, like Manchester United and against Watford and West Ham. So I'm going to say maybe Europa League spots. I don't think Champions League is possible because we're too inconsistent. I think Champions League, as much as I hate to say it, it's going to Arsenal. I hate to say that, man. It just drains my heart. But Europa League or Conference League?
Dan, Thanks for
We go
coming
through
on
this every
today.
season, though. We go through this every season. We'll win our next game in the Premier League, and then everybody will start saying we're contenders for Champions League again.
Yeah. And then we'll go lose to Man United, and then it will all be over. But Dan, thanks for coming on today, mate. And we'll speak to you soon.
Thanks for having me. Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs. All right, let's keep going. And it's the main man, KPV. Let's bring him on.
Hello.
You all right, Carl?
Not really.
Smiling an awful lot for someone that's not all right.
Yeah, but embarrassing. As DT would say, embarrassing.
Are you talking about the game last night or your FIFA match the other night?
Ooh,
Yeah, whatever.
shots fired. Shots fired.
Like I say, Ben, I demand a rematch because you think I've got a Batman who he was the only one I could buy. Like, name me another striker I can buy. Callum Wilson, Dennis. Who do I buy out of them two? Name one of them.
Callum Wilson.
Well, I got rid of that Cahill card because, like, he did.
Come on,
and
Carl. We can't be playing with Gooners. Let's be honest. We can't be playing with Gooners.
I know, but he was the only one I could buy because, like, I want to try the team that you've got. Like, how am I supposed to have that team that you got? Like, how can I have that team you got as well? How do I build the same team you've got? Like, what do I do?
Playing a lot of FIFA, earning a lot of coins, and spending it on players.
Yeah, and you said back in December you'd bring some career mode back, but what did you do? You didn't do it. Like, you said, like, what would you'd rather us do, draft or career mode, but you didn't bring any FIFA content back. Like,
Patience is a virtue, my friend. Patience is a virtue.
You only saying that because I said it first, mate. But, like, maybe this weekend it'd probably be a better idea to have a rematch because I ain't doing anything. Friday, maybe? We'll say Friday.
We'll see. I'm not sure when I'll be able to play, but we'll definitely play at some point.
Yeah, embarrassing last night.
Yeah, it was embarrassing last night. And what were your thoughts on the game?
Shit. Like, Royale can't even defend. Like, he can't even defend properly. He can't even run. Like, worst performance from him. And, yeah, the Spurs have already ruined my week. They've already ruined Expression's birthday and Toby Alderweireld and Pochettino and Harry Redknapp. Like, yeah, happy birthday to those.
Star-studded birthday today, isn't it? Bloody hell.
Yeah, Toby Alderweireld. They've already had their birthdays ruined by the club. Like, Levy out. Like, yeah, Levy out. But can I just say, what did Brains say yesterday? I want to give him a shout out. I loved what he said. Brains.
What did he say?
He said something funny. I don't know what he said, but I couldn't stop laughing what he said yesterday.
The comment of the day surely came from Bob Spur TV yesterday.
Yeah, like, we couldn't see his face on the screen though. Like,
yeah,
I don't know what. Yeah, but the comment of the day came from Bob Spur TV. Welcome back, my friend. But yeah, like, Emerson Royale can't defend. Son, I know he's my favourite player, but shocking. Like, Doherty was probably our best player. Like, we haven't even got any options on the bench because Lucas is out. Bentancur is expected to be out, but I hear Slav bumped into Bentancur. Where is Slav? We haven't seen him for over 2 years or something.
Give him a message on social media. Tell him you miss him.
Yeah, like, I want to do a watch along one time. I want to come. Get me in.
I'm sure we'll sort it out one day. Carl.
Yeah, but yeah, shit game. But yeah, I saw some put on Twitter about win, then a few games then we lose. Like, what is wrong? Something needs to change. Upgrades need to happen. Winks leave. Emerson Royale should never have came, but he's not good enough. I don't know. Like, we need a right wing back. Who can we sign? It's the question.
Yeah, well, we'll have to wait and see how the rest of the season pans out and where we finish in the league and what kind of pulling power we'll have in the summer in terms of Conte and all that kind of stuff as well. But, Kyle, thanks for coming on today, my friend, and we'll speak to you next time.
Yeah, I'll hopefully see you tomorrow. But yeah, and before I go, and as always, Levy out.
Channeling his inner Brian Daigle there, Carl Patrick Vineyard.
The Americanka says, I support KPV hosting a watch along.
We've got a super chat from Lee Ackers. I don't think I'm going to read it out because I know he's an absolute troll, this guy, and I know he's a gooner, and he's just trolling. But thanks for the super chat, mate. Really appreciate it. So I think, is that the end of the show? Yeah. All right. Well,
okay.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us today.
I saw Bobby K in the background. He must have left. Shame.
Yeah, where's Bobby K? Anyway.
Here's Bobby K. Anyway.
Here's not Bobby K. Anyway, thank you, everyone, for joining today. We'll see you all very soon. Player ratings coming your way as well. So thank you for joining. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always, come on, you Spurs.